We're going to take a closer look at the Eurozone debt crisis now. Joining us is Kereakos Zuras, a former economic advisor to President George W. Bush. Also joining us, Mark Levine, radio and TV talk show host of The Inside Scoop and the Raucous Caucus on Pacifica Radio. Well, it seems like this is what we keep talking about. A while ago, it was like maybe, probably. Why don't you give me your take? Are they in or out?
I think they're out. I think the time has come.
How quickly?
As soon as possible. I think they're going to have these elections in June. I think that nothing's going to come of that. It's going to crumble. Then the decisions are going to be made. They don't have a choice. The austerity measures are too tight. Right now, they're cutting back on every program that there is, and people just simply can't survive. It's not going to work. And expect them to bail out and exit the euro, and then look for Spain to do the same thing.
And Mark, you were nodding your head there.
I agree with Kereakos. I don't think they should have gone to the euro to begin with. I think the sooner they get out, the better. What I really hope is that report you gave that someone denied that the European Union was actually preparing contingency plans. They should, because people should be able to leave the euro. It shouldn't be a one-way street in with no way out. And whether Spain or Portugal needs to go, there needs to be a nice, disciplined way to exit rather than a free fall, which is what Greece is going to do right now.
You're saying nice and disciplined, but we're already seeing a lot of people running and taking their money out. Is there going to be a run on banks? I mean, what are some of the things
they showed that today. Yeah. Earlier today, they had, and the IMF chief came out and also said that it is possible for Greece to exit the euro in an orderly fashion, which to me is an indication that they're preparing for that, because I don't think she would have made that statement.
Now, he says Spain's going to follow. You don't feel that way.
I hope not, or at least if they do, I would like them to set up a way to leave in place, an orderly exit. Let it be set up with specific rules. This is how you leave. This is how many, I guess, pesetas it would be, goes to the euro. Let's set up an orderly fashion. If it's disorderly, banks don't know who to lend to. They don't know what they can trust. They don't know where the default's going to come, and then no one lends to everyone. And then we get up in the same kind of crisis that led to the United States bank's downfall in 2008.
The interesting thing, though, I guess if you look at banks as like a circulatory system, everyone's kind of exposed in a way, aren't they? I mean, other countries are exposed as well. What's the overall net effect of something like this? I mean, what are some of the, you were talking in terms of dominoes. We can see a lot here,
look,
can't we?
if there's a default and countries start exiting the euro, especially even just if Greece defaults, which I think it will, and it'll go back to the drachma, it's going to send shockwaves through our financial system because we're all tied into this.
I'll tell you this, though. They are taking steps, both in the United States and in Europe, already to distance themselves from Greece. I don't think too many French banks own too many Greek bonds today. They sort of already are pricing this in. My hope is that Greece may fall off a cliff, but they'll be able to, like I say, give an orderly way for the other ones to leave.
You have an interesting way of comparing this with the United States. Why don't you go over that?
I do think it's very interesting because the United States, we used to have states that printed money. When we all came together in the 1700s, there were individual states. Each one printed their own money. And out came the Constitution. And one of the things that's in the Constitution is that only the federal government can print the money. And what that means is that we have economies that are different. New York's economy is strong. Mississippi's economy is weak. New York ends up subsidizing Mississippi year after year after year. New Yorkers pay more in taxes than they get back. People from Mississippi get more in taxes than they give in. But New Yorkers really, I guess, don't mind that much. For all the distinction with red states and blue states, New Yorkers really don't mind subsidizing their fellow Americans. Germans and Greeks don't feel the same way. They don't feel they're fellow Europeans. We really are the United States of America. They are not the United States of Europe.
Do you like this analogy?
And I would agree. That's a very fair analysis because we are, even though we're different states, we are one big country where when you leave here, they're neighboring countries, Greece, Italy, Germany, France, but they don't see each other that way. They see themselves as independent. And so here you have Greece that takes the money, and now now they're mad.
I saw one analyst today say that this is going to be even worse than we assumed. How bad can it get, and how long can it go on?
I don't want to overstate this because I think that people are already expecting Greece to falter. I think people are distancing themselves from Greece. My hope is the European Union will get together and come up with a contingency plan. Look, the United States economy is very strong right now. We're coming out of recession. Europe could turn us around, and I think it's important for everyone to recognize the limits. Really, Greece isn't in that much trouble. Their debt of 124% of GDP is not much higher than ours, which is over 100% of GDP. The difference is, though, they don't have a Federal Reserve. They can't print money. When you allow yourself to print money, you can actually run higher deficits.
We've got about 20 seconds. You get the last word.
I think they're different in a lot of ways, but I wouldn't compare our economy to their economy and our ability to print money, and theirs not. I think that what we're doing here is we're creating similar problems here. But the difference is that when you live in Greece, you can't move from New York to Florida or wherever. You're there, and if it's not doing well, that's where you are, that's where you stay. There's a big difference there.
We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you both for coming in, gentlemen.